Buenas tardes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Rudy Rodriguez, and I'm founder and president of Tejano.com. If you'll please continue eating, that's the format that we chose today. So please continue, and you can listen to what I have to say. Your conversation may be a little quieter, but nevertheless, once again, thank you for being here. A big Viva Texas welcome, and once again, thanks for being here. We are very pleased. Many of you have made your way from all points in Texas, and by all points, I see my dear friend, Dr. Mendel Morgan. He's all the way from Uvalde, Texas. Have a round of applause for Mendel. And we know we have folks that I'll be identifying from Dallas and Brownsville and Austin and other places and to help us celebrate our 25th year of preserving Native Tejano heritage and legacy. Many of you have been partners for many years, and we thank you for that. And for those of you new to us, we hope we can create a strong and lasting partnership with you all as well. I just looked up and I see Miss Eva from Incarnate Word, and we just met her just weeks ago, and her enthusiasm is very infectious. So we look forward to working with you and the rest of your representatives. To all of you, we reinforce our continued commitment. When you think about 25 years, for us, for me, it just seems like it was last year because it's still fresh. The mission is still charge ahead and do all the things that you can do to make a difference in our community and our world. It's once again, our long-lasting partnership we've had. We thank you. So we will commit, again, as I mentioned, to preserve Texas history, and our passion will continue. We believe our best years are yet to come. And now I need to do a little housekeeping. With me today is, from our firm, is our CFO, Miss Vivian Cantu. Where are you, Vivian? Stand. Mr. Vincent Tavera, who is Director of Marketing and a 16-year veteran of our company, and we couldn't do without, and he's the reason why we have such a successful event. Where are you, Vincent? I know you've been all over the place. There you go. And along with Mr. Tavera is his marketing assistant, Miss Jennifer Quintinad. Where are you, Jennifer? There you go. She's been with us since last year, and she's from a faraway place, El Paso, Texas. But we welcome her home here in San Antonio. And last but not least, Miss Kathy Glamuir, who's our administrative assistant at EPI and who keeps us all in line and on time and everything else you want to think of. So thank you. And as I mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, many of you know how challenging putting together these events are. I see a lot of smiles and knowing nods. This event is not any different. And so I'd like you to join me in a round of applause today for staff, the young men and women who have made this possible today. And to me, the following are our children, but also with us today is our prize, the Tejano Son of Texas exhibit back in the rear. The content is the story of Texas history through the eyes and life of Jose Policarpio Pali Rodriguez, a legendary Tejano, frontiersman, scout, surveyor, Indian fighter, Texas Ranger, and I'm going to go on and on. He was everything to everyone, I think. So the display covers a lot of the events in Texas history over the decades from 1850 all the way to the late 1800s. He lived to 1914. Also over on the left, we have a collection, a sampling of our rare archival artifacts, maps, documents, and photos. And you get a chance, you might want to take a look at that because you'll find some Texas Ranger records. For Tejanos, you'll find the early marriage contracts from the 1850s and on and on and on. Finally, we are very pleased to introduce the new members of our Texas Tejano Living History Association. led by Mr. Martin Vasquez. Would you stand? And Martin, ask the rest of your troop to stand. Ask the rest of the Tejanos to stand. And would you give us Dios y Tejas? These reenactors will be participating in all our upcoming events as we're finishing the year, and we have many plans for next year. They will be a part. They continue to tell the story of Native Tejanos. If you asked any one of them who they represent today, they'll talk about Don Lorenzo de Zavala, the first vice president of Texas, Commander Colonel Juan Seguin, Toribio Lozoya, and on and on. So we're real pleased that we were able to reenact them, or to enact them rather, a pun on words. But last but not least, if you'll visit our Tejano Portrait Series that we launched a number of years ago. And we thank you once again for your attendance. And I'd like to acknowledge some very important sponsors that made today possible, and also our future events. The first that we want to acknowledge, of course, is the Briscoe Museum, Western Art Museum. The president, Liz Jackson, that we met with earlier in the year, made it possible for us to have our venues here. This is our third for the year, and we look forward to next year for our grand finale, if you will, for the 250th anniversary of the founding of America. But you couldn't do that without the Tejanos. So we'll be here again next year. And so we want to thank Liz and all of her staff who have aided us along the way. And they have been, of course, as I mentioned, our venue sponsor. Next, I'd like to introduce and thank some special people who are here with us today. And I'd like you to rise as I recognize, as I mention your name, Honorable Phyllis Villagran, Councilwoman, District 3. Councilwoman. Ms. Clementina Garcia, President of Los Bejareños. Where are you at? There you are. Ms. Maria Solis, President of the Tejano Genealogy Society of Austin. Thank you, Maria, for being here. Mr. Gus Hinojosa, Chairman of the Mexican American Museum from Dallas, Texas. Where are you, Gus? There we go. Mr. Stephen Cure with the Texas Historical Commission up front. And Ms. Donna Carter with us today? Okay. And then, unfortunately, Ms. Angel Baldry is not here from the Texas State Historical Station. We miss her. She had a family emergency. And then Dr. Richard McCaslin with the Texas State Historical Association. Also, is Sylvia Pizana here? Of course, Sylvia here. Would you stand? She's with the National Trust for Historical Preservation and the Via Finale here in San Antonio over on King William Street. If you get a chance, you want to check that place out. It is fabulous. From our colleges and universities, Dr. Greg Michael with UTSA. Where are you at? Back in the back, thank you. Professor Andrea Cosan with UTSA. Assistant Vice Provost Susana Diaz Rosenkron, UTSA. And Professor India Haynes, I hope I pronounced that name correctly, with UTSA. We thank you for being here. Dr. Eva Fernandez from UIW. Dr. Lada Cannon with UIW. Thank you for being here. And from the Southwest Independent School District, Dr. Jeanette Ball. Where are you at here? There you are. And let's see. I don't see someone that I wanted to introduce from UTSA, Dr. Ricardo Romo. So I'll just move on. At this time, we're going to ask some of our partners to come forward and speak. And I'm going to ask Councilwoman Villagrán to please come forward and give her remarks. And Councilwoman shares a great heritage and legacy with one of the Alamo's most famous heroes. And I say that he's my favorite Alamo hero, and that's Toribio Lozoya. Toribio had the distinction of being born in the Alamo, garrisoned with the Compañías Volantes, and then he's going to fight and die defending his home. Councilwoman?
Thank you. Thank you, Rudy. Well, good afternoon and welcome. My name is Phyllis Villagrán. I'm the councilman for District 3, the south and the southeast side of San Antonio. It is my honor to be here today as a proud Tejana in celebrating Tejanos across the state of Texas and how we've contributed to not just the Texas story and the Bexar County story, but to the story of this country and how we truly have defended our land, our people, and how we grow. I am very proud to carry with me the Toribio Lozoya heritage and name. My descendants are originally from Lozoya, Texas, came over, and Toribio was a cousin that was born and then would live and die at the Alamo, and he would be survived by his wife and their children, so that we have direct descendants today that we found only, I think, 5 years ago to celebrate his life. And I want to ask you, and I'm going to be working with the Tejanos and celebrating him next year in April. We always celebrate Toribio Lozoya Day and want to hear more Tejano stories of those that fought bravely at the Alamo, defending their land, defending their home as we look forward. And his name is not, and all these names here, all of these photos that we see, these aren't just names in history books. These are stories that we tell, that we've told through generations, that now I thank you for all the educators that are in the room, the professors that are teaching the history. And as a former history major, I know how important it is, because it starts in what we know, in the truth, and finding out who we are as a people and who we are as a person. So thank you for the work that you do and that you continue to do, because I think for too long we've had other people tell our story. Other people have told the Texas story, they've told the Tejano story, and through Rudy's efforts, we are now telling our own story. We are providing the facts for generations so that they can and share and ask the questions of family, and go online and go to the professors and ask the questions of what was it really like? Where did we come from? And where are we headed? Because that is what we need to know, because Texas is strong. Move forward and to celebrate that. And so when we think about how we're moving forward and how we're telling the story, I want you to know that I am committed to help with this organization and all of you that are telling the story. And that as we move forward in what we do here in San Antonio, I don't want this story to be left behind. I want us to continue to talk about the cultures that are here, that were here, and that our descendants made an effort to move this country, to move this community forward. We know that our hearts and our culture are something to be valued and something that will help us get through whatever challenges we face. And so I want to thank you for letting me share this opportunity. I look forward to celebrating. We have big anniversaries to celebrate next year, but I look forward to celebrating this afternoon, 25 years of telling a story, 25 years of telling a story that people tried to keep us from telling. And now we're here in the Briscoe, and I want to thank the Briscoe for helping us as we continue to tell our story about our Western heritage, our contribution to what is going on, and how we moved this community forward. that they're part of this celebration too. So thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I look forward to working with you all in the future, and I look forward to seeing you at all the events next year as we celebrate this anniversary and the anniversary of all those that have come before us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman, for those remarks, and we join you for the future in your efforts along with ours, and we know we'll tell the story very strongly. I'd like to just take a moment at this point to reintroduce the Southwest Independent School District Superintendent, and with her is Ida Sudan. Did I get that correct? Sudake. Okay, would you rise and be recognized along with your peers? Thank you. Let's see here. The next person I'd like to ask to come forward is Mr. Fabian Castillo Sr. If you'll make your way up here. We had a very interesting interview early, and the main thing about Mr. Castillo is he is one of our famous San Antonio royalty. He is actually His Majesty Ray Feo 76. And we've asked him to share some thoughts, and he also has some very creative thoughts about how we can collaborate in the future, and we look forward to that. Please have you.
Thank you very much. I'm Fabian Castillo, as he said, Ray Feo 76. Our organization raises money for scholarships, and I would tell some of our former Ray Feos, I would say, you set the path, you set the foundation for us. Just like these gentlemen that are here and the Texas Tejanos, they have set the path for what we are doing now. I'd like to say thank you to everybody that's here and for what they do, and I think it's a great honor for me to be here. If it wasn't for some of these stories that we hear, a lot of students would not know this information. And I think it's very important that they get this information out. As we visit over 100 schools this year, as we raise money for scholarships, we visit almost 60,000 students. So the little bit that I send out to the students about staying in school, reading, writing, your math and all is so important, as it is important for history that these gentlemen have done for us. But with that, I'd like to say thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's see here. It's not normally normal that you have royalty on your dais, but we thank you once again, Mr. Castillo, for being here with us. Next person I'd like to introduce, ask to come forward is let's see, is Dr. McCaskill going to do the remarks, or you are? Okay. If you'll please come forward. Dr. McCaskill is with the THSA, the Texas Historical State Association, that provides us with the publication, the wonderful publications. In fact, they've donated some to give out as door prizes later on, so stay around for that. And he's been a wonderful steward of Texas history for many years. We've known each other a long time, and I'd like to ask him to come forward and share his remarks about how we collaborate with them.
Thank you. Yes, free books. If you hang around, we got some free books for you. But if you're not satisfied with that, we will be happy to sell you other books back there. So pleased to be with all of you here today. This is an amazing organization. They've done so much in such a short time. But I'm going to take the opportunity to boast a little bit about my organization, which has been around a long time. We are the oldest academic press in Texas. So if you have a book on Texas history that you'd like to publish, come talk to us. We've been around since 1918. We've got quite a few in our catalog, and we'd love to add some more. In fact, we have biographies of quite a few of the characters you see up here. There's Navarro, Ruiz, Seguin. Those books are back there on the table. We also publish the Southwestern Historical Quarterly. the oldest continuously published journal in the country. Continuously published being the key word. We are 128 years old. Yeah, there's some Yankee journals that are older than us, but they've missed a few issues and we never have. We're Texas, right? And you'll find a lot of Tejano history in our quarterly. Brett, would you stand up for a moment? We have our handbook of Texas history, 28,000 articles and counting. There are subdivisions of that, including a Tejano handbook of history. If you would like to have your family story, your grandpa's story, a good story that you know, with footnotes, academic, contact Brett. He's in charge of that. And he's also in charge of all of us. So I'll quit talking about him. If you have a student in school, high school, we work with high school students through junior historians. We publish a journal for them called Texas Historian. College students work through Web Society. We publish a journal called Touchstone. We also publish the Almanac of Texas, which was now named the State Book of Texas. The new edition will be out in November. And we've been working with different organizations, including the Queen Sophia organization. There will, of course, be a featured article in there on the role of Texas in the American Revolution, focusing on some fellow named Bernardo de Galvez. Of course, we'll have him in there. So we publish the Almanac, we publish the handbook, we publish books, we publish the quarterly, we publish journals for high school students and for college students. There's a place for all of you. And if you're interested in becoming a member and getting involved in all of this and our support for other organizations such as this one, you might want to talk to Saul. Stand up. Saul Weiner is our new membership fellow. So this is the guy you'll be contacting. So we're going to try to keep it to the time limit. We're very proud and pleased to be here. We'd like to move forward with all sorts of different organizations. And this is one of the most active and very impressive ones in the state of Texas. So we're all glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor, for those remarks. And one of the things that I want to take a moment to talk about is that unlike historical conferences that many of you have attended with breakout sessions and speakers, we chose to talk about this as a mini conference, if you will. But our primary thrust from Texas Tejano's eyes were that someone like Dr. McCaskill and Brent would be able to talk about those things that we here in South Texas can learn about that we can do. If Dr. Eva, if you've got a book that you're gonna, want to offer up, these are the people to talk to. If there's teachers that are wanting to subscribe their students to programs, these are the people you want to talk to. If you've got historical markers, the Texas Historical Commission is who you want to talk to. They're available today. And that was one of we think our big goals was to be able to have those folks here present and talk about how they can help us define our Tejano heritage with markers, with books, with the programs they have for our students. And I think you've done it very well. Thank you, Dr. McCaskill. Let's see here. I also would like to take a point of personal privilege to thank Miss Angel Baldry from your organization. We do know that she had an unfortunate personal circumstance, and we wish her well and her family. But she's brought a really unique collaboration, enthusiasm, and spirit that helps, of course, us as we do our jobs, kind of reignites us. And for that, we thank her and pass along our thoughts to her. Stephen Cure, would you please come forward? Our next speaker is Stephen Cure with the Texas Historical Commission, and he's in charge of military sites and oral histories, whom we've known for many years. And we want to ask you to come forward and share your remarks with us today.
Thank you, Rudy. So I was told to keep it to around 5 minutes, so I can't even cover everything that THC does in 5 minutes. So I'm gonna narrow it. I do want to say I appreciate the presence of my colleagues from Casa Navarro, one of our 42 state historic sites, who are joining me at our table here today. Thank you for being here today. The THC is collaborating with Texas Tejano in this coming year on jointly promoting both their conference as well as our Real Places Preservation Conference. It takes place in April of next year. Sort of weird timing. Theirs is in September of 25. Ours is in April of 26. But we'll be jointly promoting their conference next year as well. I would encourage you. There's a ad in the program as well as at our table in the back. If you would like to stay up to date on that conference, please scan the QR code and sign up for that. I'd also like to mention a couple of other initiatives. I was hoping that our Friends board chair would be with us because one of the programs I wanted to talk about was our Preservation Scholars Program. This is a program that we offer to university students from underrepresented cultural and ethnic groups. We've been doing this for a number of years. Last year, we had such a great crop of prospective scholars that we actually found the funding to have 8 instead of our usual 7 from our Friends group. I've had the pleasure of having 2 preservation scholars over the last several years help me with our oral history collection, which we finally brought online this summer. It took 4 years, 3 interns, a whole lot of digitization by the Texas State Library and Archives, but the oral history collection, which does contain quite a few Tejano stories as well. I would encourage you to check it out. There's some wonderful Tejano history in there. Is now available online on our website, searchable, all the audio, you can listen to them and read transcripts and that sort of thing. So encourage you to consider that. Our partners in higher education, thank you. I recognize the institutions from the applications that came in. Keep sending them our way. You're sending us some wonderful students. Keep doing that, please. Last but not least, as Rudy mentioned, I coordinate our military sites and oral history program. At the table in the back, I've got general information about the agency, but I also have a number of publications and materials that the military sites program has produced. A couple of those we will be in the raffle. One of them is a book that I wrote, came out last year. If you really want me to scribble in it, I'll be happy to give you an endorsement if you happen to be lucky enough to win that book. It's a beautiful book, at least I think so. I know I'm biased. Actually, Dr. McCaslin wrote a review of it. He thought it was a beautiful book too. So good luck to whoever wins that. But where it ties back to Tejano history, this summer, one of my interns helped me bring almost to fruition. We're within a matter of a couple of weeks. A project to map Texas military history in thematic categories. The very first one, obviously, thinking chronologically, the Spanish era in Texas. So noting on a map via our website, which should be up in the next couple of weeks, locations of Spanish presidios, battles in Texas during the Spanish period, of course, our wonderful historical markers on topics related to that period and where they are around the state. You'll be able to browse through that, scroll, click, and learn about those military sites across our state. The one that's going to roll up with it and at the same time is the Mexican era in Texas. So those two will roll up first. And yes, I'm starting chronologically, but it also happens to work well for today's audience as well. So be looking for that on the military history pages of the agency's website. So we look forward to collaborating with Texas Tejano in the coming year to both promote their conference as well as ours. And we share a similar mission of making sure that all Texans are aware of the real places and the real stories that make this place great. Rudy.
Thank you, Steve. And I heard the magic words again, how we can participate with one of our most revered state agencies, institutions, for documenting our heritage and our legacy. By the way, just a quick shout out to some folks I met not too long ago who own the Fort Lincoln site, Stephen, in Medina County. And we're talking to them on a preliminary basis. More news later to bring you guys in. So we're real excited because it fits into the research we were doing on the old government road from the 1849. So more news later on that. That concludes the speakers that we were going to have today. And as I mentioned, unlike your typical historical conference, and I see my good friend Robert Garcia, who's here with us today. And when we brought up the idea of this event, he said, well, what kind of speakers? Everybody said everything and so forth. And I said, well, I think we're going to have a different approach to see how it is that we can benefit from the speakers we have. And I think we have, they've done a great job of illustrating and communicating. So could you give them a round of applause, please? So far you've been saved from hearing a lot of history, or as most people will say, well, after I listened to Rudy, we had a history lesson that we didn't expect. But I think it's important that I share just a beginning slice of what we think in terms about the early Tejano history and the beginning of Texas. So with that in mind, we'd like to begin by talking about what our goals were to champion the true stories and lives of native Texas Tejanos. And I want to give a definition of what we think in terms of depth of Tejano. Native Tejanos are descendants of the first Spanish, Mexican, and indigenous people on the Texas frontier dating back to 1690 or the early 1700s. Those of you unfamiliar, the first founding of the Provincia de Texas was done in 1690 by the famous general explorer Alonso de Leon. And so that's in the context of where we say that the origins or genesis of Tejanos began, or Texas for that matter begins. I would like to share some brief important facts that we have been very passionate about sharing and championing about the Tejano story. First, in the late 1600s, New Spain, not Mexico, but New Spain, discovered or took note that there were French incursions into its northernmost province that we now know as Texas, of course. In 1690, after 5 expeditions to discover the French, they discovered the failed French Fort La Salle in the general area of Matagorda Bay today, along the Gulf Coast. This led Spain to plan exploration, colonization, and Christianization of the native tribes that they found in the easternmost part of their land. And they proclaimed the Provincia de Texas on a Sunday of that year by General Alonso de Leon. There was a high mass served, and then he came with the political might to proclaim the province. The soldiers assigned to the new presidios, forts that is, and the villas, the towns, and the missions were selected from among married soldiers. There was a concentration on married soldiers only, because the Spanish knew that they needed to begin a population and growth in towns and so forth. In brief, they become the first soldier settlers, and their descendants become the first Tejanos y Tejanas, on the Texas frontier. Their families began the first civilian communities next to the presidios. The civilian families couldn't stay in the forts. So you had the fort that you have several blocks away, and then you have a place that I'm sure most of you are familiar with called La Villita, which means the small town. That's where the soldier families came to live. And that's why we have La Villita today. Their families began, as I mentioned, the communities next to the presidios. And so the first churches are created, and the first society and culture in Texas begins in the early 1700s. Obviously, we know a few short years in 1731 that the first official government is created by the Canary Islanders in 1731. But they began also the first ranches with Longhorns and Mustangs and cattle brands dating back to 1731. As we were doing research in the Spanish archives years ago, I come from a ranching family in Medina County, and we've been very proud of our cattle brand to have been there in the county archives for over 100 years. But to my delight, I found the cattle book from that era, and that in 1731, the first Tejano cattle brand was registered to the first Tejano ranch, if you will. The four main areas of provincial colonization were La Bahia, or Goliad area, San Antonio, Nacogdoches, Nuevo Santander. And what's Nuevo Santander? New Santander. Well, in Spain, there's a place called Santander. It's a province. So here, everything was Nuevo Santander. Old Spain was Old Spain, and New Spain was what is now Mexico, of course. Don't want to confuse you all. But, and then Nuevo Santander is truly South Texas. We have an exhibit titled Nuevo Santander, South Texas, because the colonization and exploration and survey takes place under the leadership of Count Escandon, Jose Escandon, in 1751. Over 5,000 colonists go to develop and settle and conquer the South Texas area. The four main areas of provincial colonization, as I mentioned, were connected by royal roads called Caminos Reales, royal roads. These first native Tejanos enjoyed an almost autonomous self-rule, as they were so geographically detached from the distant seat of rule in New Spain, which would have been Mexico City to us today. They were almost 1,500 miles. Each of their districts that I mentioned featured caballeros, city councils. They were able to appoint their judges for civil matters, criminal matters, and disputes of land. So the Tejanos always had law and order and justice. The result was a very vibrant, independent, and self-reliant people. You can just imagine they're not going to wait 6 months to get word back between the gray and the black, if you will, if civil proceedings. So they were almost autonomous, if you will. The late 1700s provided the old and new world with the age of enlightenment. Those of you history professors know that in Europe, the light of enlightenment is produced by those famous philosophers and great thinkers that said no longer should man be ruled just by a monarchy or a dictatorship, but he should be endowed with, really like our Constitution, indelible rights of self-rule. And that is the genesis that promotes the French Revolution. Then in 1776, that concept has already traveled to the New World, to the New England colonies, and you have what we're going to celebrate next year. the independence of American liberty in 1776. That also leads to the Mexican Revolution that began in 1810. And that led Tejanos to revolt from New Spain in 1813. I think the councilwoman mentioned briefly about having ancestries along La Medina, and the famous Battle of La Medina, some of you may know, was fought in 1813. But there had been a very valiant effort to make Texas independent. There was a constitution held, and Texas became the republic for the first time in the spring of 1813. Unfortunately for the Tejanos, a very large and superior Royal Spanish Army comes to do battle and win back their state of Texas. The loss is horrific, over 1,000 Tejanos, the bloodiest battle fought in Texas history, with the largest counts. I mean, you could take all the military actions and combine them, and I think Stephen would probably concur that we're pretty close with the count. After the Patriot Army, the Tejanos are disseminated down south of the Medina River, the survivors run to San Antonio, and they're assaulted and killed along the way. They enter San Antonio under General Redondo's command, and they continue to martyr Tejanos for days on end. They collect over 300 women to do their bidding and supply food for the soldiers. And it's an incredible loss for Tejanos. Not only is the flower of Texas gone, but their rule is lost, and it returns to Spanish order. Their properties were confiscated, of course, because they were deemed, of course, secessionist, and there was no quarter for that action. Several years later, in 1835, in the life of Tejanos, the immigrants from the American East called for secession and independence from the Republic of Mexico. Tejanos were hesitant, but nevertheless combined to place their lives, once again, their families and their lands in harm's way. Once again, countless Tejanos joined military units. Tejano politicians joined the conventional revolutionary government and fought in all the battles for independence. For years, there has been a single narrative of the men who fought and became heroes at the Alamo. Yet the story of Tejano and Tejanas are just now being told. We are very proud to tell the story, as all of our heritage and legacy will make a better society and make us all better Texans. This is just the beginning of our native Tejano story. And we ask that you visit our exhibits and websites to learn more about our ancestral heroes. And you're going to have to wait for the next conference for the second part of this talk. So don't forget. Like Councilwoman Villagrán spoke about, in our legends, politicians, ranches, economics, and our families from 1690 to 1890 are the story we wish to tell and talk about. Also in the future, we intend to introduce the story of New Spain. I know that some of you are wondering, what's he talking about, New Spain? But that's what it was called then. There was the New England colonies that were colonized by Old England, and there was Old Spain colonizing in a place called Nueva España, New Spain. And I might add that there was also Old France that was colonizing and conquered the Mississippi Valley at a place they called New Orleans. And now I'd like to tell you how we've been telling the story, and it's among you, it's around you, Over the past 25 years, we have been very proud to provide programs for students and the general public that have served to educate, celebrate, and elevate Native Tejano heritage and legacy. They have consisted of educational material, authored books, created traveling exhibits, and the Tejano portrait series that we have before you. Plus, we recently participated with the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C. in their exhibit entitled Presente, which was at the Smithsonian for the past 4 years. It was originally going to be a 3-year run telling the story of Hispanic heritage in America. And they called and said, we'd like to keep your artifacts for another year, the success of which we're still very, very proud of. Also, we were part of the Smithsonian Rural America exhibit. Some of you may have encountered that exhibit traveling around the state. And the Smithsonian chose 7 sites in Texas, and Bandera County was one of them. And our exhibit joined the Rural America exhibit there for 45 days. We have also produced websites, digital material, produced documentaries and plays. We have one of our documentaries over on the left screen. We've also written a play, and we premiered it at the Charlene McCombs Theater. We look to our Tejano Living History Association to perhaps one day in the future produce it once again here in San Antonio. Further, we have addressed the offices of Secretary of the Interior, the National Park Service, served on the National Camino Reales de los Tejas Board, along with service on the Texas Historical Foundation, Bandera County Historical Commission, service at ITC, the Whitty, and many other places. Also, we have also produced an exciting Tejano Moment series on KSAT 12 TV. Some of you may have watched it last year. We had 21 episodes over a 12-month period, something that we were really excited and never had an opportunity to do as much work on media. In fact, the Texas Historical Commission chose to cite us for that achievement. We have also authored and produced a Tejano autobiography, a 6-part Tejano Son of Texas book series on Tejano heroes. Plus, we have authored articles that have been published in numerous local, state, and national newspapers, magazines, newsletters, and websites. Many of you also know we have conducted special events and celebration all over the state and locally. Also, since 2000, we have launched 7 websites, according to Vincent, and with Tejano archives, artifact collections, Tejano online history, and historical photos and documents collection. In addition, we began an advocacy effort that focused on local, state, and national government officials, state history institutions, history centers, and educational institutions. And I'm very glad about the presence of our state institutions by THC and THSLA, who have talked about the efforts that we have completed. However, our biggest reward has been the hundreds of thousands of students and adults in communities we have touched over the years, from San Antonio down to Brownsville, to Galveston, Victoria, Corpus, Houston, Waco, El Paso, on and on. It's been a mission that we have completed, and we still have a long way to go because there's a lot of places still to tell the story yet. Lastly, before I conclude my remarks, in 2026, we will be inaugurating our Friends of Texas Tejano. THC has a Friends of THC, and we've looked at their example, and we think it's a good one. So we're going to try and work on developing that. Plus, we will be planning the installation of a Tejano Son of Texas exhibit at the state capitol in the month of September during National Tejano Heritage Month. We've had the honor of being displayed in the past in the Rotunda. And so we will have both our exhibits and artifacts there to help kick off next year's National Tejano Heritage Month. One of the things that I skipped, and it's on the screen, is we are going to initiate a goal that had been started by a previously elected state senator out of Houston to erect a monument in honor of Don Lorenzo de Zavala at the Lorenzo de Zavala Archive and Library in Austin, Texas. It's going to be which is at the Capitol grounds. Unfortunately, the effort back then did not complete itself, so it's been lying dormant. But the House bill was passed. Mr. Louis Benavides, who's one of our first and initial members of the Friends of Texas Tejano, and Anna Mendez are going to be pursuing that effort to begin the wheels rolling, if you will, again. The design has to be developed. A sculpture needs to be sourced. The sculpture you see up there is the creation of Vincent Tavera. It's a very good likeness, but nevertheless, we're going to be looking forward to getting involved in that. And we ask that you guys think about joining us in that effort. Plus, next year, we look forward to the publishing of a major Tejano biography. And we hope, all things considered, that we will be looked on favorably by the oldest printing press in Texas. And then we'll be able to dedicate it in the month of September. Somebody's laughing over trying to figure out, or already. Also, we have Tejanas and Tejanos at the Battle of the Alamo that we will be offering up for publishing as well. And lastly, as part of our 25th anniversary celebration, we'd like to announce the final selection of the one school district. Let me back up a little bit. One of our goals for this year at our 25th anniversary was to select one school district, and we purposely turned our eyes to the south. And the councilwoman is gone right now, unfortunately, but we turned our eyes to the 5 school districts that were on the southern edge. And today, I'd like to announce that we selected one school district that will receive these teacher's kit, which will have a teacher's guide. It'll have a student book. There'll be primary documents, and there'll be posters for the classroom. And for those of you teachers out there, professors, that probably fits all the bill for being able to have supplemental Texas history. And so with that said, I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but I'm going to ask the representatives from the Southwest Independent School District with Dr. Ball to stand and receive a round of applause. We've selected your school and your school district. We met with representatives over the summer. Dr. Ball shared a lot of enthusiasm. And they also represent one of the largest school districts with lots of schools. Vincent kept on telling me, that they got 58 great schools. So we're going to do our job. You guys do your job, and together we'll be successful in the future. So congratulations to you guys. We hope that this conference in the future will be a combination of culture, history, of course, and an opportunity to talk to one another, exchange ideas, goals, decide to join efforts, have available programs. And by the way, some of these institutions have funding for their programs for your schools as well. So heads up on that, talk to them. They're going to be in the back if you have time to visit with them. We ask that you reach out to us as we begin planning. We'll be doing that throughout the rest of the year. I have on my notes that I would take questions if there's any questions. If there's not any questions, then I'll move going once, I don't see any hands up in the air. You're looking good. Okay, so, last but not least, who's gonna come up here and help me with this? We're gonna pull some, tickets, that have been distributed early, and we have some, prizes that we want to give out to you that's been courtesy of the Texas Historical Commission. Mr. Robert Garcia, has given us some things, and so. Who's that from?
These are from Robert Garcia.
Okay. So let me have the first one. So, listen up, folks. This is a wonderful, original copy of the Presidio downtown San Antonio, from the 1830s. And has been gifted, by my dear friend, Robert Garcia. And without further ado, Vincent, if you'll pull, or Miss Jennifer. Okay, here's where I read the numbers, and I'll read the last three numbers only, so it doesn't take too long. 838. 838. Do we have a winner? Do we have a winner? Who's the winner? Oh, Don Lorenzo de Zavala is here with us today. It'd be nice to get a photo. Well, would you hand this to him, please? Here comes a photo. Vincent, stand next to him and get your mug shot. Thank you, Don Lorenzo. Next. From the Garcia collection, how does that sound? It's a book on the Presidio de Texas at the place called San Antonio, with a description of the comandancia of the governor's palace by our dear friend Frederick Chabot. I think he would have been looking forward sitting at the table here having lunch with us, right? Okay. 862, 862, 862. Ah, okay, Mr. Hannah. Okay, what do we got next? Oh, it's a 2-4. Okay. So we have the memoirs of Antonio Menchaca that you're going to want to read. He led a very fascinating life in San Antonio. And then you have the descendants of Lucas Delgado and Mariana Meliano, Canary Islands family of San Antonio, book authored by Robert Garcia. And the winning number is, these are real treasures, by the way. The printing was done some time back. 851, 851. We have a winner, Missy Fuentes. Okay. Whatever. Okay, and next. This has got to be one of your favorite books, Robert. It's Red Shirt, The Life and Times of Henry Lafayette Dodge. Okay. If you ever want to know about New Mexico in the early days, this is one because he was there. Okay, and the winning number is 836. 836. Ah, very good. Good, congratulations.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so Vincent says that we're gonna do two at a time. How's that? So, wonderful, book on Petra's legacy, written by Jane Clements Mundy and Francis Brennan Vick. It's a wonderful story of a very powerful, independent Tejana, from the Valley. And then we have, John Lloyd Stevens, Incidents of Travel in the Yucatan. And the number is? 883. 883. Whoa, we have a winner over here. Okay, so don't go away. There's still a lot of chances to win here.
These are from the THC.
Okay, so these are from THSA. Okay, Dr. McCaskill would be very upset if I said otherwise. We have a wonderful book on San Antonio, the tricentennial history, and then A Revolution Remembered, the life and times of Colonel Juan Seguin. Wonderful book. And the winner is 871. 871. Clementina, congratulations. 2 times in a row. Let's vote again. Great, great.
Congratulations.
Okay, what do we got next?
So, you can still TSH.
Okay, so continuing with the gifts they brought from THSA. Texas on this day, 500 years of history, and it's the second edition, so there's more in it than the first, of course. Go figure. At any rate, Tejano Patriot, the revolutionary life of Jose Francisco Ruiz, 1783 to 1840. And he, of course, is one of the only Tejano sons of Texas that actually signs the Declaration of Independence. His family and ranch was along La Medina, as we mentioned something earlier, and the councilwoman mentioned the ranch, and his legacy continues. Some descendants are still living along the river. Okay. Let's see here. 820. 820. We have a winner? Okay, all right. And Maria Solis from Austin.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good. Oh, wait a minute, hold that. Okay, and then one of the most fabulous Tejano examples of the 1800s, a book on Jose Antonio Navarro, written by our dear friend that passed now, David McDonald. And this is really has a lot of scholarship, a lot of information that makes what we're talking about in Tejano history and how leaders, political leaders, merchants, proclaimed themselves, defended our legacies and education. And then the other Tejano epic, essays of our dear friend Felix Almaraz, Dr. Felix Almaraz, Jr. by Arnold de Leon. A great read from a great man who lived with us for many, many years. Let's see, 845. 845. Who's the winner? Ah.
There you go. Congratulations, sir.
Okay, there's still a few more, so there's still time. Vince?
Just 2. Oh, hold that one.
Okay, this particular volume is Beasley's Vaqueros by Dr. Andres Tejerina. The memoirs, art, and poems of Richard M. Beasley. Very fine book with just incredible art in here. And the winner is 868. 868. Do we have a winner already over here? No? Who's got it? The royal consort herself. That's the official title. For those of you who don't know, you have El Rey Feo, and then his wife typically is the royal consort. Okay. Going. Okay, the Texas Almanac 2024-2025 from the Texas State Historical Association. And these folks over here and Dr. McCaslin and company have been producing this for how many years? 2010, yeah. So everything, almost everything you ever wanted to know is in here. So a winner about Texas. 853. Hey, my sister, this was not staged. No. My sister got lucky today. Okay, got two more to go. Three, okay. Oh, wow, this is interesting. Palomito Ranch, from Civil War battlefields to National Historic Landmarks by Jody Edward Ginn and William Alexander McWhorter, who is very well-known author on military history. And the winner is 889. 889. We have a winner. What's that? Okay, so that one was from the Texas Historical Commission, just to be fair here. I saw Stephen's eyebrows furl a little bit. Just teasing, Stephen. Okay, and last but not least, oh, there is, okay. Oh, my God, yes. A centennial perspective on Texas in the Great War, World War I, 100 years. Guess who this is by? Stephen Cure. So what do I hear a bid on? Do I hear $20? $20?
It's on Amazon for 42.
Oh, okay. So I'll start there. Do I hear 50? Okay, let's see here. And is Susie here from the catering company, or Holly? Is Holly here? Yeah? If Holly, if you can hear me, come on and join us up here because we're gonna have a lot of fun with this next item. Okay, so the winning number is 890. 890. Going once, twice. Okay, we have a winner. Very good. Congratulations. Okay. So we have one last really impressive door prize, and we're hoping that we can get the catering manager to step over here because you're going to want to know a little bit about this if possible. Is Holly here? Okay. All right. So I'm going to use some creative license here, but our caterer of record is Anne Marie's Catering. How was the lunch? Was the food good? Service was okay. So they have given us a certificate for 10 for a catered business lunch. Let me read this. This letter serves as a gift certificate for a business lunch for 10, Monday through Friday. Included in this lunch is a choice from our delivery menu, desserts, and delivery. The estimated value is $200. So that's the grand finale prize, and drum roll. Thank you very much. 8, 4, 4, 9, 849. 849, you got the winner. He gets the steak dinner. Here comes somebody. They the winner?
Yes.
Oh, good. You're welcome. A couple of, just a housekeeping order point. If we can get the Southwest School District representatives to kind of rally after I finish here, so we can take a photo with you guys and congratulate you. This concludes our remarks for today, and you can remain talking and visiting if you'd like. The exhibits are still going to be here. And once again, from deep heartfelt thanks for you all to be here. And we look forward to our continued collaborations and work with all of the different parties that are here today. And we thank you and God bless everybody. Gracias.